Hello, in this video we're going to look at the volume of a sphere. The formula list at higher tier includes the volume of a sphere. So you don't really need to learn it, but you do know where to find it. So the volume of a sphere is given as 4/3 pi r cubed. We're going to look at a few examples using that. So my first example asks me to calculate the volume of the sphere with radius 2 centimetres, giving your answer to 3 significant figures. So in questions involving spheres and circles, I like to write down what I've got, which is the radius, and then also what I might need, the diameter. We're looking for the volume of the sphere. So the first thing I'm going to start with is writing out the formula, 4/3 pi r cubed. Then we can fill in what we know. We have 4/3 times pi, and my r given to me is 2 cubed. And I can put this into my scientific calculator exactly as it's written. So using a fraction, 4/3 times shift, and we should know where to find our pi, times my radius, and there's my cubed button. And search and destroy to give me it in decimal form. So I've got 33.51032164. I'm asked to give this to 3 significant figures. So 33.5. Don't forget, this is a volume, so my unit is cubic centimetres. And all I've done here is substitute the value for the radius into my formula. So let's have a look at the second question. Calculate the volume of the sphere with diameter 6 centimetres, giving your answer in terms of pi. When we see pi in a question, we often think of these as calculator questions. But we can treat pi like a letter, and you will see these coming up on your non-calculator papers as well. So let's have a look. I'm given my diameter. So my radius is half the diameter, which is 3 centimetres in this case. So let's start off with the formula. V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. And now we can fill in what we know. V is equal to 4/3 times pi times my radius, 3 cubed. V is equal to 4/3 times pi times, 3 cubed, 3 times 3 is 9, times by 3 is 27. Here we should be able to see that 3 and 27 have a common factor. I'll write it out again to make that a little bit more clear. So 4/3 of 27 times by pi. And if we think back to when we found a fraction of a quantity, this is what this looks like. We're looking for 4/3 of 27, where we divide by the bottom. So 27 divided by 3 is 9, and we times by the top. 9 times 4 is 36. What we could also do is simplify. 3 goes into 3 once and into 27 9 times, giving me an answer then still of 36 pi centimetres cubed. And I don't need to put that into the calculator. Okay, so these are 2 straightforward examples of how you might see the volume of a sphere, firstly on a calculator paper and secondly on a non-calculator paper. Look at 2 more examples. Just to make sure that you're familiar with the language, a hemisphere is half of a sphere. So we'll start off with our formula, 4/3 pi r cubed. I'm going to write down what I've got, which is the radius. Radius 7 centimetres, so my diameter is 14. I'm of course going to be using the radius here. And let's fill in what we know. So if I was finding the volume of the whole sphere, it will be 4/3 times pi times 7 cubed. And of course I can put that straight into the calculator. 4/3 times pi times 7 cubed, giving me 1436.75504. But this time I only want half of that volume. So my volume of the hemisphere is my volume divided by 2, giving me 718, and I'm going to do that to 1 decimal place, centimetres cubed. You do have an alternative here, because if we think of 4/3 pi r cubed and we divide that by 2, well, half of this formula straight away is just 2/3 pi r cubed. I could have put that into the calculator and it would give me that answer in one step. Okay, so my final example then, the volume of a sphere is 4,500 pi centimetres cubed. Calculate the radius of the sphere. So quite a classic question where it's really asking us to work backwards. Let's start with the formula. Volume is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. I know I said at the start you don't need to learn it. By now you should be getting quite familiar with it though. Let's fill in what we know. My volume is 4,500 pi, and that is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. I can divide both sides by pi. Pi divided by pi is 1 on both sides, leaving me with 4,500 is equal to 4/3 of r cubed. Let's get rid of this divide by 3, so we'll times by 3. So 13,500 is equal to 4r cubed. And now we're going to get rid of this 4. 4 times r cubed, so the opposite of times by 4 is to divide by 4. 3,375 is equal to r cubed. So now we can find r. The opposite of cubing is cube rooting. And the cube root of 3,375, probably wouldn't expect most of you to know that from the top of your head, unless you've been spending extra time with Mr. Edwards. But we can use our scientific calculator. So shift, and here you'll see, here's your cube root. It's a second function. And our cube root's a nice whole number. It's quite comforting when we get an answer that's a whole number, and we get a radius of 15. And our unit is in centimetres, as our volume was in centimetres cubed. I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, let us know. We can put up some more.